So welcome everyone to this open house and award ceremony, and of course the talk on AI and conversational AI and commerce. So I just wanted to give the state of the chapter, a few insights into how we work and what the chapter is all about. My name is Vishnu Pendyala. I'm the chair of the chapter, current chair of the chapter. The vice chair is John Delaney, is not here. Treasurer S.R. Venkatraman and secretary Sujata Tibrewala. We are missing all of them here. We also have quite a few extended ExCom members. We are always on the lookout for volunteers. So if you are interested in volunteering, please do come forward. You could help us with the editorial support for our magazine. We have a magazine that we publish every quarter. Feed forward. We have Meenakshi, who has taken over the reins of the magazine as the editor, so you can help work with her. You could also contribute to the publicity, social media, and publicity of the events. And then if you're a student particularly, you can be our liaison for student chapters. We organize a couple of conferences every year. One is the NFIC, New Frontiers in Computing, jointly organized with the Taiwanese Association. It's NATIA, North American Taiwanese Engineering and Science and Engineering Association. So that's one conference usually held in Stanford. We have had it in Stanford for I think more than 20 years. During the pandemic, we took a break. We went online. The conference was online, but this year again we are back. We went back to Stanford, and it was organized in Stanford in the month of May. So that's one conference, and the other conference is ICATS, International Conference on Applied Data Science, where we call experts from all over the world to give invited talks mostly. So the conference is a half-a-day conference with a lot of invited talks, actually 4 or 5 invited talks. So those are the 2 conferences that we organize every year, and you can certainly help us with those. And then member recruitment, this open house, I hope at least there are a few non-members who would like to consider becoming members. There are a lot of advantages. One of the most important advantages is networking. Even after the pandemic, with the pandemic, networking opportunities have come down, but we are trying to get them back. This is one attempt at getting back the networking opportunities. So yeah, member recruitment is something that volunteers can help with. And any other way, if you have any ideas, we started a podcast series. Our first podcast is out, so you can help with the podcasts. And in terms of the activities of the chapter, a brief overview. All the technical events were broadcasted live, including this one. It's live on YouTube, and it is being recorded as well on Zoom Cloud. Some of the events have been made available on IEEE.TV. And because of the pandemic, most of the events were online even this year. We'll hopefully be able to change it next year. We were fortunate to feature distinguished visitors. Some of you must be knowing that IEEE Computer Society has this distinguished visitor feature, where they select a few experts in various areas in computer science from all the regions in the world. So we were fortunate to feature distinguished visitors and international speakers from various countries like Greece, Italy, India, and Canada, and of course, United States. And we have been continuing the highly successful Ask Me Anything series. on topics like big data technologies. It's in November, the AMA series, the continuation of the sequel of the AMA series on big data technologies in November. So please consider joining that. So AMA is basically ask me anything. You can ask the experts on their areas of expertise mostly, but they're open to answering any kind of questions, relevant questions. We already talked about NFIC, which is in the 25th year. It was back in Stanford University. It was very well attended. And we had excellent talks on quantum computing and stuff like that. Authors of books and professors were there. And this year, new is the SVCC conference, Cybersecurity Conference of Silicon Valley. So that conference is indexed by IEEE Explore. So folks could submit papers and they went through a review process and all that stuff. Then they got indexed in IEEE Explore. So that was a huge success as well. It was organized in San Francisco, and it was very well attended, and we had a whole panel of speakers. And then ICATS, like I mentioned, was also largely successful, and we could feature speakers from various countries. We started the podcast channel. There's one already out. One podcast is already out on Should AI Take a Pause? That was the title, I believe. So that's already out. So check it out. And then the chapter magazine Feed Forward is in its second year. We bring it out every quarter. Meenakshi has been helping with that this year. In terms of the publicity, we have a website which gets a lot of hits. We track the hits and web page access, and it gets a lot of hits. And then we have a huge presence on social media as well. We have a LinkedIn group. We have a YouTube channel. Then on Twitter, we have 12,300 followers. And Facebook, we have 644 followers as well. You can always join the mailing list. We have a mailing list. Right now, there are around 3,500 members in the mailing list. And then we started pages on LinkedIn and Facebook. So you can follow those pages and be in touch. In terms of membership, so these numbers are slightly dated. I did not check the latest numbers. These are like from March. So it's been 6 months, but the numbers have been more or less the same. So in the Silicon Valley chapter, Santa Clara Valley chapter, there are 40 fellows. And 29 of them are life fellows. There are 133 senior members, and you can see the distribution by gender and grade as well. So we are trying to improve the diversity aspects of the chapter as well. We are trying to encourage diverse groups to join the chapter. So we have an event or one or more events every month on many topics, various topics. And we have been celebrating the IEEE Day with events. Last year, we had 2 events, one in the morning, one in the evening. And this year, we have a panel discussion on ethical AI. We started an awards program, and we have been recognizing an industry rising star. Last year, it was Shubhi Asthana, and this year, it is Meenakshi. So I'll talk about Meenakshi in a little while. The quarterly magazine Feed Forward. So right now we have 7 issues, I think. We brought out articles and on various topics again. Though the title Feed Forward is more related to artificial intelligence and neural networks, the coverage has been quite diverse as well. So please feel free to encourage your colleagues to contribute articles, and you can contribute articles as well. There's a link on the website from where you can submit the articles. So ICATS is in its second year. We are hoping to, it was online this time, virtual, but hopefully next year we'll make it in person. So that's pretty much about the chapter, unless you have any questions for me. Any questions? Yes, sir. Hi.
I have some students interested in starting revitalizing the chapter at Stanford. And I know that Stanford has new chapter launch. Faded away during the pandemic. Do you have any connection there that you can restart the chapter at Stanford?
Yeah, we tried a lot for this NFIC. We tried a lot. We actually contacted professors in Stanford. We contacted a number of students who were actually not students but past members of the chapter. But there was no encouraging response. Looks like everyone is busy. So we had to approach Stanford through the Taiwanese Student Association. So we did raise this topic of starting revitalizing the chapter. It's still in the thoughts, but at least there are some professors who are interested. So maybe we can bring it up again. But yeah, it has been a challenge. We tried a lot. So yeah, that's a good point. We'll keep trying. So is he an IEEE member? Oh, then that will be great. So, sorry? Oh, yeah, you need 12 students. Yeah, I think that's where the problem is. But yeah, we will connect the student to other students that we know in the university and then see how it goes. So, Raghu, you had a question?
No, my question is answered by his questions.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
So, college graduates now looking for STEM activities from the IEEE. So, I'm not sure, is it part of the Computer Science Society or the new program chapter of the IEEE?
We could take up as well. There's no stopping. But only thing is, there are certain ethical principles and guidelines that we need to follow. Other than that, I don't think there's any restriction in starting any kind of program for any kind of audience. In fact, one of the goals of IEEE is to spread the message of technology, right? To spread technology to diverse audiences.
And also, based on the report, it looks like the female members are very less in the IEEE Computer Science chapter. So, anything we are doing to be more diverse there?
Yeah, we brought you in, for instance. Yeah, we have been trying hard in that respect also. But the problem is, the problem has been that people are really busy in Silicon Valley. The industry is very demanding, and then there is some exodus also. So those two are contributing to the decreased participation. But yeah, hopefully with the in-person events, we will be able to revitalize the chapter. But virtual events, there's a lot of attention. Like for some of the events, like the quantum computing event, I think we had to increase the number of tickets we had to double the number of tickets. There were more than 200 or 300 registrations just for the quantum computing virtual event. But the registrations were from all over the world, not just from our chapter. So some of the events were very well attended, even though they were virtual, but the participation was mostly from various parts of the world, not just Santa Clara Valley. Yeah, hopefully with the in-person events, I think we'll be able to revitalize. But there's some caution also, right? This pandemic is still not gone. It is again picking up and people are hesitant probably to attend in-person events. So we'll keep trying. Yes.
Yeah, can you give some more background about the Silicon Valley Cybersecurity Conference and how that is different from the other conferences, and going forward, what the plan is?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this Silicon Valley Cybersecurity Conference was being organized for the last 2 or 3 years, I believe. So this is the first time that we sponsored it, technically sponsored it. So the difference between this conference and the other conferences that we organize is that this conference is like a proper conference. It's a research conference. So people from all over the world, I believe a lot of people were from out of the United States, the people who presented, researchers who presented papers in that conference. So it's a proper conference. It's a full-fledged conference with invited talks, keynotes, contributed presentations, tutorials, panel discussions, and so on. It was, I think, for 2 days. 3 days, sorry, right? 3 days. Yeah, it was for 3 days. I could attend only 1 day, but it was for 3 days. Sure. So it's a lot of work. By the way, organizing that kind of a conference requires a lot of research efforts and a lot of paperwork and blessings from the section and a lot of red tape, because the standards need to be kept high, right? So yeah, so hopefully we'll be organizing it this next year as well. It was in May. Typically it's in May or in August. So the announcement will be out soon, in a few months. Yeah, if you can subscribe to the distribution list, you'll get updates. Even if you're not a member, you can still subscribe to the distribution list. Okay, next up, I just wanted to introduce our industry rising star, Meenakshi. She's an experienced software architect with 15 plus years of expertise in designing large-scale distributed systems. And that is the area for which she is being recognized today. She works with Netflix. She is an IEEE senior member. She pioneered efforts with architects to design and implement a scalable, highly available, RESTful microservice platform using the latest technology stack. She has a lot of work experience, a lot of good projects. She was recommended by 2 senior persons in the industry. She has a master's in information systems and management, and also a master's in computer applications, and a bachelor's in computer science from the Delhi University. She has a number of certifications, and she is a well-known speaker. She was a speaker at the Women in Tech Global Conference in QCon. I'm pretty sure you know, you'd have heard about QCon. So she has been a speaker there. Very good talks. QCon features really very interesting talks. And she was a speaker in the Elasticsearch community meetup for distributed database sharding strategies. And she has been on the judging panel for various awards as well. She has authored a number of blogs, and she received the Engineering Excellence Award from Mitchell International in 2017, and Most Valuable Player Award again from Mitchell International. And she received a token of appreciation for contribution in the successful timely delivery of project from Amdocs in 2007. She has been mentoring women in tech as part of the global mentoring program. She's also a mentor in the youth program of IEEE. She has worked in Netflix. She's currently working with Netflix. Previously, she worked with Mitchell International and Expedia as well, and then Royal Bank of Scotland. So it is my pleasure to request Mustafa, would you like to come forward to present the award to Meenakshi?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me read the citation if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So this is for Annual Industry Rising Star Awards for 2023, presented to Meenakshi Jindal and Netflix Los Gatos, California, for her significant contribution to large-scale distributed software system. Congratulations. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking it one photo, Vishnu.
Yeah. So would you like to say any word, few words? You can use the microphone.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, IEEE Computer Science Society, for this award. I really appreciate and enjoyed working with the computer science chapter. I think this year significantly with Vishnu, and I learned how he's contributing back to the society. I'm looking forward to do more in the coming years. Thank you.
Okay, we now move to the talk, technical talk. So let me introduce the speaker and the talk. So the topic is artificial intelligence and conversational commerce. So in today's fast-paced digital landscape, conversational commerce has emerged as a game changer. And we all know artificial intelligence is at the heart of this transformative shift. Through AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants, businesses are revolutionizing the messaging space, enabling customers to engage in seamless conversations while making purchases and completing transactions right within their favorite messaging apps. This fusion of artificial intelligence and conversational commerce empowers businesses to offer personalized product recommendations, answer inquiries in real time, and facilitate effortless transactions, all within the familiar messaging interface. So, join us as the speaker delves into the world of AI-driven conversational commerce and discover how it is reshaping customer interactions, boosting engagement, and revolutionizing the future of e-commerce. So today's speaker is Raghu Suram. He is an accomplished product manager with over a decade of expertise in the dynamic realms of B2B and B2C with the AI and messaging industry. Throughout his impressive journey, Raghu has honed his skills while serving with industry-leading powerhouses like Salesforce and 247.ai, with a passion for innovation and a keen eye for market trends. He has been at the forefront of revolutionizing customer experiences through cutting-edge technologies, known for his strategic acumen and ability to drive product excellence. Raghu Suram continues to shape the landscape of AI and messaging, delivering exceptional solutions that cater to the evolving consumer needs. So I request you to please come forward, Raghu, and take the podium.
the data, there is systems, there are things that are put in place which takes out like some data, like as you said, like what is it, probably they could be their gender preference, or they could be their ethnicity or like the location. Again, I wouldn't say like what is it, those data will be scrubbed in for all the use cases. So depending on the use case. So we all know probably like one example which I can take is have you heard about like Amazon jobs like AI? This was I think 2-3 years ago, where it was rejecting application from women because in the tech space there's like nine I don't know the exact data, but like there's a higher majority of men. So it was doing that, but Amazon is able to scrap it like where's AI really quick. So so there is, I mean, obviously there's experimentation, there's learning, it's all new, even though it's been 5 years, it's new, there's experimentation. But one thing what I would say, like the companies have to make sure they remove those biases depending on the use cases, so that it's not, it doesn't give you like what you want to see. It probably gives you the information what would solve the problem. So that's my take on that, and there is been like successfully some, I mean not some, actually many companies which I've seen have successfully been able to do that for some use cases. But I would like to see that like for all the use cases from all the companies as well. But
in education, many students use the generative AI such as Grammarly or ChatGPT in a negative way to show the work that they haven't done. Do you have any suggestion to entice the student to use it in a positive way?
no, that's actually a really great point. Okay, so let's again comparatively, right? I think this was 1950s or 1960s. I don't know when the calculator was invented, probably 80s or 90s, right? So not so long ago. Calculator was invented when all the maths teachers, they said like, hey, we should ban calculators like in use in the classroom. But that did not happen. Calculators does have a purpose and a lot of people use it. And obviously there's some institutions which ban it. But whenever new technology comes in, that's at the time, like we need to rethink as in like the education institutions have to rethink about like what type of assignments they actually give in the classroom. You cannot give an assignment then to write an essay about like a political figure or like someone. Now they can probably, if that's boring, they'll actually go to generative AI and ask the question. So everyone has to think about some creative ways for the students in the class to not use generative AI and build something on their own. I'm pretty sure like what's it now, you can use generative AI for free. You can just open, download the app, use it for free. I use it to be honest, like whenever I get a question, I go to generative AI before I think on anything. There's generative AI answers it. If it answers, it saves me a lot of time actually. And go from there. So we will see so much innovation in the edutech space and so much rethinking about like the curriculum, like what they will have, what every student's going to have. Hopefully that answers your question, Professor. So I mean, we cannot stop them. We need to reinvent every aspect. Amazing questions. Where?
So how so just wanted to understand how if you need to converse with someone in a different language to conduct some kind of business transaction, say if you go for the farmers market and then there's someone there speaking Spanish who you want to buy something from, and you want to conduct that transaction. So how what's the adoption rate that's currently in the market for to have that conversation over a platform? Just wanted to understand.
So just to reiterate the question, so you're saying that like probably like in a messaging channel, and someone is talking with a non-English language, and what is the adoption like for other than the English languages? So today, the important thing is like, I mean, 5 years ago, I would say like, what is it? It's different, it's much different, it's much lower. because most of the models have been like trained mostly on the English data. But today, there's so much improvements in like the translation. And even with the Google Translate, 4 or 5 years ago, if you ask something in English and try to translate into like other languages, it was not doing well. But now the accuracy has gone up like by quite a bit. So the translation algorithms are doing really, really great work. And that's one thing. And then the other thing is most of the companies are building custom models for that specific language. So that's another important improvement since like half a decade ago. So the engagement has been like the same, like any language across, like it has been the same. I wouldn't say any language, but like there are some very minorly used languages, right? Let's see, for example, like in India, there are 2,000 or 3,000 languages which are out there, but only like 13 are official languages, but the other languages does not have a much engagement. So that's, so the engagement has been the same like for all the popular languages across the world.
I have two questions. The first
Sure.
one is, when you speak about the voice integration in a chatbot, are there any works where it happens from both ends? The customer speaks, he starts searching it through the voice and he gets back something through the voice. And the second part of the question will be, can that somehow be used for sentiment analysis so that it can be used for the complaint resolution in all these channels?
I'll ask the first question. First, we might have to repeat the second question again. So the first one, it's a very interesting use case. Let me tell you why it's interesting. Let's take, for example, like many countries. I'll take an example of like Brazil because I have the data very well there. I think like around 50-60% of them like doesn't know how to chat and so doesn't know how to write and read. I'm not 100% sure about that data, but like somewhere around the stats. So what they would like to do is like they would like to leave like audio notes to the agent. So even on WhatsApp, what they do is like they send an audio note and then it goes to another friend. So we are friends. I'm from Brazil. I leave an audio note, it goes to you, and an audio note comes to me. So that specific feature is really popular there. And now, like when they're interacting with the bots, they would like to have the same thing. They would like an audio note and comes back, and it comes back. I haven't seen, to be honest, like that's a great feature, but I haven't seen successfully many companies. So through agent experience, they're able to do it. Like goes to human records it and comes back, that's their able to do it. But through bot, it hasn't been done successfully yet. Although like there is all the technology, what we need in that for that is already existing, but it's not there like completely automated scenarios. Yeah, although I've been working on similar things earlier, but yeah, that specific use case wasn't there. Yeah, so probably that answers the question. First question, right? Yes. Okay.
The second question is about the sentiment analysis and how it can be used for a complaint resolution.
Okay.
Because if we are able to integrate it into it, half the customer service will be taken care in most of the sectors by the bots.
No, definitely, right? So it's actually already being used, not exactly like how you described. So what happens is, depending on the sentiment of like how the user is asking questions, either it goes to, we have an agent there, like there's agent, there's supervisor for the agent, or the manager at home. And the conversation, depending on the sentiment, is it good, bad, or like worse, it actually automatically gets elevated or transferred to supervisor or manager. So in a way, the sentiment analysis has been actually used today to route those queries to a specific person. But I really like the idea of like if it's so if you're saying like the sentiment is like really good or positive.
Like I speak and from my voice, the bot understands the emotion, and from there it goes to, if the customer is happy, it just takes feedback and leaves it. Or if it is, agitated voice or something like that, it immediately escalates it to the proper channel.
No, that's interesting thing. Yeah. To be honest, I haven't seen the use case used in the exact fashion you mentioned. There's sentiment analysis like after the chat is completed, but not during what is it, the language. I've seen, but I've seen like when there is text which is used some text so it says bad sentiment, then they are routed to supervisor, but not understanding based on your tone of your voice. So but that's a really good feature to have into this case, to be honest. So as you can see, right, there's so much information that can be done. So like whatever we are having today, I'm talking to you, I could be like angry, like you could know like I'm angry, not just with my words, right? With the way at home I use my like the tone. So all those things can come into conversational commerce, can come into like digital conversations. Yeah, one of the features I was actually also thinking about is depending on like consider like the user is angry. Now like the agent is saying something, but the agent might not know that you're actually angry. They're trying to answer like your questions. There could be some modulation on the agent voice, which could probably like understand whether you're angry or not, and then modulate in a more sympathetic voice. But there is things that there. So right now, like in the bot side, like when a bot sends information, the bot has to clearly say, "I'm a bot, and this is happening." This is an automated process, not human. So even in that space, there has to be some new laws that needs to come in to say that okay, there is a lot of modulation happening on the agent voice. So it's not all what you hear is correct. So I mean, you see what I mean. Hey, it's an amazing question, sir.
How does the architecture of chatbots change as we introduce AI? Currently, a lot of chatbots I consider so elementary that it's just traversing a tree. Whereas I can go to Pi or ChatGPT and I can have a conversation. What's necessary in the architecture that when you create bots in the future, that they are going to actually have that interactive way of finding a solution?
That's a good point. So today, I mean, as you explained, right? So it goes like more than a tree structure. It goes like from intent based, you can add all the things. That's pretty manual and it's time consuming. And then you have to add a response, you have to add some training data. So what I'm expecting is at least like in the near term, based on the conversation, generative AI is able to like provide like the tree structure, at least like the tree structure automatically for the conversation, or keep updating the tree structure, and also provide some templated response, add some training data, so that it's becomes easier for the admin or like conversation designer per se to create those bots, at least like in the near term. But probably like in the future, I don't know whether we need bots. It's a question like generative AI is like ChatGPT is itself a bot with unlimited conversations. It just probably requires a little bit of grounding. When I say grounding, is training is a new term. This is for generative AI. So I'm just thinking like once you have the data coming in, those will be the data obviously scrubbed and customized and everything. That will be trained on your AI models. The ChatGPT AI models or any other AI models, and that becomes a bot without no one explicitly going and changing things. But you know, right? I know whenever we're talking about these things, we always say it probably that could happen in the next 5 years, might not happen in the next 5. It could be the next 10 or next 15 years to achieve that level of sophistication. Yeah, there's a lot of technology we can actually talk about in that fashion.
So can you give some insights into the market for this?
Market for generative AI?
No, not conversational AI.
Conversational AI. Oh yeah, I mean
Commerce.
So conversational AI is market size. I think it's something. It's growing around like 30-35% year over year, which is really amazing. when you look at like the data from the other things. What else data I can provide? I mean, we talked about like what is it, many users or in the space who are actually like going on the messaging panels. I would say like the number of people who are interacting through voice is going up, and they're slowly moving into the messaging apps for obvious reasons. It's faster, real time, can be asynchronous. When asynchronous is like we can send a message. We don't expect a reply now. Like the business comes into online later on and they send a reply to you. It can be asynchronous. That's one data we can talk about. But overall, like what is it? There's creator economy today. So everyone, there's a lot of people building businesses really fast on YouTube and all the social media platforms. So everyone is trying to use like the AI to automate many things. So the market is huge, and considering like the amount of market which is captured, I would say it's going to continuously grow like for the next like decade or 2 decades.
So it looks like there are no questions on Zoom or YouTube. Maybe because you do not seem to be connected to the audio. I think. Were you connected to the audio?
Not connected to the audio.
Oh,
But you logged in, right?
I muted mine. So it was a silent movie for the watchers.
Okay, go on with that.
So any other questions from anyone else? Okay, so let us thank the speaker.
Thank you, Krishna.
So thank you all for coming. Hopefully we'll see more often in the future as well. There will be more events in person, hopefully. So hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You want me to take yours? Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for organizing.
Yeah, sure.
In the form, I'm not like a CS or IEEE, so
So you're
that's me.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much for,
Yeah.
maybe we can take the picture because I've got to take it out of the class, right? We can
Oh,
take the picture
Oh, yeah, that may be that's great.
for your website.
Oh, I should turn this up.
You should definitely connect me. Also spoke about